If the collection agencies keep calling and your debt is out of control, you will want to pay close attention to what our guest today has to say. Mark Silverthorn is the author of The Wolf at the Door, What to Do When Collection Agencies Come Calling. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Pleasure to be here, Carl.
Now the answer seems obvious, pay up, but that's not always possible. So what do you do?
Well, there are a number of options that people have in the book, The Wolf at the Door. I explain about eight different options that people have when they're having problems paying their bills.
Okay, so what is the one main thing you tell people then when they say, I'm constantly getting the call, it's out of control, what do I do?
Well, I think the first thing that people can do is it's actually possible to stop a collection agency from calling you.
How do you do that?
You send a registered letter to the collection agency, and in that letter you indicate that you dispute owing the debt and you invite the collection agency to sue you. And after that, it's illegal for the collection agency to call you or to communicate with you, period.
Okay, so let's say you're just really in debt, deep in debt. You know it's your fault. You made a mistake. Perhaps you've lost your job. Things are out of control. You know you owe it, but you don't have it.
Right.
And the calls keep coming in. So what can you do then?
Well, in the book I talk about a number of options. I mean, it's possible to provide a collection agency with post-dated checks. I mean, a collection agency is probably going to tell you that they want all of their money next week, but you can send them a series of post-dated checks. If the debt is more than 6 months in default, it may be possible to negotiate a lump sum settlement for huge discounts.
Really? So let's say you owe $10,000. Is it possible to say that some people have said, well, I'll give you 8 and let's call it off?
Well, I mean, there's one creditor in Canada, I'm not going to mention their name, but they routinely settle accounts that are 7 months in default at between 15 and 25 cents on the dollar.
Really? Mm-hmm. So it pays to do your homework.
Well, it's possible to save tens of thousands of dollars negotiating settlements with creditors.
Well, I guess people realize that it's better to get something than nothing if the person goes bankrupt, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, the calls can really add stress at a difficult time already. So what do you suggest people do to protect their credit scores as they're going through all this? Because then that's going to add even more stress.
Well, I think if you've got a debt and it's 6 months in default, then it's reached an R9 and it can't get any worse than that. So if you've got debts that are more than 6 months in default, I think what you should really try and do is deal with the debt on your schedule and not feel that you have to sort of deal with this in the next couple of months because you've already reached that point where it's an R9.
Okay, now I was reading in here also, you talk about student loans, and that's something that many people know about, is the debt of a student loan. How to deal with that debt if you've graduated, you have thousands of dollars in student loans, and you don't have that job that's paying huge amounts of money, so you need to get on a payment plan. How does that work with student loans? What kind of payment plans can you work out to make sure they're not calling you?
Well, I think one of the things you want to find out is who do you owe the money to. If you owe a student loan to a provincial government, then there are opportunities to do lump sum settlements for significantly less than 100 cents on the dollar. If you took out a Canada student loan between 1995 and 2000, then your creditor is a Canadian chartered bank and not the federal government, and there are all kinds of opportunities to do lump sum settlements at huge discounts.
Really? So even if you're not behind on your payments, this is something that you could just do?
Well, you're going to have to be in default.
So you have to be in default in order to pay up?
Sure.
Okay, very good. The book, The Wolf at the Door, What to Do When Collection Agencies Come Calling, is available at all major bookstores, and you can also go online. Mark Silverthorn, thank you very much for your expertise today.
Pleasure.